Hi, and welcome back to It's Not Rocket Science 5 Questions Over Coffee. This is my coffee, which I have in front of me. I know Julie has a drink with her as well. And I'd like to welcome Julie Guegan, who is a Fellow of the Royal Society of Arts and a recipient of 2 European Commission Awards. And she's really passionate about citizen empowerment and participatory democracy and collaboration. And she's got work which has been enriched by systems dynamic theory to do that. And we're going to have a really fascinating discussion about how she's doing this and things she's written about it. And Julie, I'm really delighted to welcome to It's Not Rocket Science 5 Questions Over Coffee. Thank you for making the time.
Thank you so much, Stuart. And I will warn you that maybe my dog will sparkle, will bark during the conversation, but it's my dog, it's fine. And my cat also may appear, so you know.
Okay, we have had dogs, we have had cats, we have had many interruptions during these, and they're always delightful. I'm always pleased to see them come in and say hello. So that's really wonderful. Julie, tell us a little bit more about, the people you help in terms of the collaborative processes and the methodologies you use to enable that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. So over the past 20 years, I led a journey to understand the conditions for collaboration, but sophisticated collaboration. When faced with the need to collaborate, things get tricky. And we could see that over the past years when we face complex issues that require genuine collaboration. It's like we forget everything about human nature, our culture, and how to navigate the complexity of collaboration. Just being married is difficult with 2 people. So imagine when you have more people around the table. And so over the past 20 years, I had the great chance to contribute to the European project as a consultant and to identify, to learn from all my experience, the critical ingredients, what was needed to apply collaboration when collaboration is most needed. As an outcome of this 20 years adventure, I created the Global Collaboration Institute a year ago. For this, I gathered experts from all over the globe in different disciplines, different areas, but also ways of loving and thinking. So real diversity in practice, people that don't necessarily think the same as me. And we started to work on the basis of my findings and to elaborate a framework that can be applied in any system, any project, to amplify its potential and to make sure that the system in itself would be in calm, in well-being. And so having the condition to catalyze innovation. So that's the result of this work, and that's the reason why I'm here today with you to explain you a little bit what is this main outcome. It is in a book, in a vision, and I'm happy to answer your questions, Stuart, about this.
Julie, I think you said one thing there which is really critical, and that's something that I think a lot of the people you work with have tried to do. They've tried to find ways of collaborating, but as you said, sometimes you need to gather people around you who are different, who don't think the same as you. And that's a critical and key aspect of ensuring collaboration actually succeeds. What can you share in terms of insights into how that helps if people have tried collaborations or they've tried ways of sort of getting diversity, but they failed because they haven't recognized that as one of their key problems?
You have so many examples, in our history where we embarked into many initiatives without taking the cultural diversity into account. Actually, in collaboration, diversity unites us. You don't do collaboration if you already have the answers to your question, if you already have a position, if you prefer. So when you enter collaboration, and when, in this case, we are talking about big dreams, in a way. We are talking about solving the most impossible problems of our times, because when collaboration is actually needed, it means that you cannot solve the problem yourself alone. So it means that the problem is too big for you. And so the dream is also too big. And that's why you have to take into account this diversity within the room, because this diversity is the key to your solutions. And what you need to do to embark people in this collaboration journey, taking account their different ways of thinking, but also loving, because the starting point is we all have a positive intention towards this world. We all have it. And following all my experience and my empirical research, where I went as far as I could into the periphery, I started to listen attentively to our stakeholders. If we are serious about achieving global collaboration that is empowering people all over the world to if you prefer, to embrace the complex issues we face, such as climate change or mobility, economy, any topic, you have to equip them. You have to prepare them to the shock and the agonies that diversity will represent.
That's a really interesting thing you said. It is a shock. It is not easy. It's not comfortable.
It's absolutely not comfortable. But to solve our issues, I said it at the beginning, you need well-being, you need calm, because to lead to harmony, people will need to feel calm. They will need to feel that they master. And this is why it's so important, our role at the Global Collaboration Institute, to equip people for sophisticated collaboration. So that in this collaboration, you won't burn out. You will feel well along the journey and you will master. And this is how you will make impossible possible.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Because you will be like, oh, sorry, I told you I could talk during hours.
No, please carry on. Please carry on.
It just, as part of my journey, I developed a number of tools and storytelling techniques and things like this. And it's very easy for people to forget about this diversity aspect and to get stuck when they are shocked, right? When they are shocked by others' view on the world and their way to love. It's the basis, it's NLP. I don't know if you know a little bit about NLP. Everyone is okay. That's how you start a collaboration journey. Everyone. What you need to understand is, when you need to develop is empathy. Your ability to listen to what feels wrong. Yeah, and well, it's just that as part of the storytelling techniques, I for instance feed people with narratives, like the narrative of the eagle. The eagle that takes distance on the dream, that takes distance on the project. Because if you put too much pressure on yourself, you increase the risk of being shocked. Because the more you want a project to succeed, the more you want something impossible to become possible, the more you increase the pressure on your shoulder, and the less competent you will be to address it. So it's very important that people, visualize themselves as animal. And I use the laws of nature, because we need to contemplate nature when nature shows us it's far more complex than we thought it was, because human beings, we have this inferiority complex toward nature. We always need to find a way to control it. And now that we are faced with this terrible revelation that nature is stronger than us, we seem even more lost, and it's like people lose everything they learned. They panic, and it's like we have to relearn everything, about what is a good behavior, what is wrong, about our beliefs. We are like turtles. I mentioned the eagle that needs to take distance and have strategies to make sure the dream at the end of the day will work, because there's no other choice. The change is happening anyway. The question is, do we want this change to be like the way we want it? Do we let this change, happen without us? And I think we all have in our world the tools, the competencies, everything we need to make the right, benevolent change happen for this world. So let's do it, and that's why also when I started with my new European dream for a caring culture and innovation and hope and faith, because we've never needed more hope and faith than today. And this, knowing that, yes, we can. Of course we can, we have everything. And when I started, the only reason I could wake up every day with this huge dream on my shoulder, the turtle with this huge burden of this huge dream that, yes, we can do it. The only reason why I could keep going is because I knew there were people in this world like you, Stuart. People in this world that have a fantastic expertise they can bring to the table so that we make happen what we thought was impossible. And so I'm naming this force, if you prefer, the force for good.
Yes. Is there a particular thing that you would like people to? Is there one piece of advice that you could leave? And I'm going to put up at this stage your LinkedIn profile, which I will include in the show notes for the episode, because I think it's important that people can follow what you're doing with your Collaboration Institute. But is there one piece of advice? You talked a little bit about sort of storytelling techniques. You've talked about some of the techniques you've used to help people sort of understand how collaboration can help them move their business, their personal life forward. Is there one piece of advice that you would leave them with to enable them to sort of today start taking that approach, move their collaboration forward in a way which, yes, will make them uncomfortable, will help them to move out of their comfort zone, but will enable them to sort of move forward, that they don't need a lot of time to learn?
Mm-hmm. There are you have to know, I wrote probably one article per day in 3 years on my blog, which is now closed because it was mainly for my experience, the empirical research, to understand, as I said, the conditions for global collaboration. From there, we have this framework, structural and behavioral framework. The pillars, if you prefer, of collaboration contain 11 ingredients. And there is this behavioral framework that is the process to move from impossible to mission possible. As part of all these resources that we created, I'm thinking about one very simple thing that people can do when they have so many Stuart, I'm thinking about one in particular, but there are 3 mistakes that people do when they have a big dream. The first one is lack of humility. It's the second one is lack of curiosity. So this, the being ignorant. You have to be like an unborn. You, when you enter collaboration, you have to forget everything you know, basically. Because if you really want to have the power of collaboration on the table, you have to forget where you come from, all your beliefs, all your bias, all your assumptions, because you need to be at the disposal of the crowd. Because collaboration is 1 + 1 equals an infinite number of possibilities. But for this, you need to forget all about yourself. You need to be unborn. The third mistake is to be overwhelmed by doubts. Yes. Because along the journey, you will be like a scout. It's a friend, Stefan Baiji, who taught me about this, that when you are a pioneer, and of course, Global Collaboration Institute is pioneering a new world. It's like we opened the door to next generation because we saw that the system was becoming absurd and change needed to happen whether we want it or not. And so we opened the door to make it familiar for all generations that there is a possibility that one day global collaboration will happen with a maximum of people around the globe ready, equipped to solve all the complex issues we face in all the areas, because we see there is crisis after crisis. In all the domain, in all the areas, we need to change the rules of the game. So we opened this door and we invented these frameworks. So really, one resource I would say is to face these three mistakes. So lack of curiosity, lack of humility, and the feeling of of being overwhelmed by doubts. Contemplation, looking for the signs that you are doing the right things, being as much as you can unborn. Unborn. It's really like the second life, you prepared your first life, and you spend your first life preparing the second life. So we need this civilization to prepare its second life. So we need to look at it like this. So far, we have been quite individualistic. We have been quite self-centered. You say comfort. Over our comfort. We need to accept the stretching. We need to accept that we need to unlearn everything we learned. Because now we have a mission all together, and it is to prepare a better world for the next generation.
Yes. Does
it make sense to you?
It does, and you're right that often these big initiatives don't yield results for many years, but that shouldn't put us off from actually looking for how to make that. I mean, we talk about the sustainability that the world needs to adopt at the moment, and there's no point in pretending that sustainability is to benefit the people who implement the change now. It's to benefit generations to come, and we need to have that ability to look long term instead of in quarters and years, to look in terms of decades, so that people can see the approach beginning to take fruit in 5, 10, 15 years from now. Was there one time, one thing, or a series of things which brought you a course, book, experience that brought you to your understanding that these things need to be addressed, and started your thinking about this big vision about collaboration?
Yeah, thank you for asking this question, because I did an academic research followed by empirical research. I mean, everything at the same time, actually. I read tons of books because it's a very serious journey. You don't come unequipped to a dream like this, right? The key to me to the main door has been Alfred Adler. Alfred Adler was an Austrian philosopher who lived at the same time as Freud. But he was far less notorious. What Adler, do you know Adler, Stuart? No, you see, he's not very notorious. But when I read it, and I read all his books, I got this shock. Because you know what he says, basically, but it's awful to summarize the thoughts of someone like him. What he says is that human beings have a very deep inferiority complex toward nature. And this is translated by behaviors of superiority complex. We need to control nature. We don't like the unpredictability of nature, the uncertainty, right? And so Adler actually woke me up to a reality which I knew already, that we had a problem with our inferiority complex that were translated in a number of behaviors inside our society. But he equipped me on how to solve that main huge hurdle. It's a bit like, I mean, I will make a parallel with Jung. You know, it's also when Jung, when he tells you that the first thing you need to master is your dark side, it means you human beings, you're a bunch of monsters. So when you wake up in the morning, instead of thinking that you are God, do your best to calm down the monster within you. Because when times become complicated, it should be your first task right in the morning, master the devil within you, because it's big and it's gonna be very big as times will gonna be tougher and tougher, in particular for the Western world, because I think, and that's it's part of all the things I learned, because you cannot imagine when you start a journey with a dream like this, like global collaboration 3 years ago, I could not expect learning so much. Can you imagine the number of people I met from my little office at home? The conversation I had with people from all over the globe, living very different lives as me, having different dreams, etc. It's incredible. When I mean, I just want everybody to join this journey now.
Yes. The passion is important. And that leads me to my final question for you, Julie. And that is, there must be one question that you think I haven't yet asked and that I should ask in order to better understand how collaboration is going to help us all move forward. So what's the question I should have asked? And obviously, once you've asked that question, you're the best person to answer it. So what is that question?
How is your dream, Julie? How is your dream going? You know, I shared a dream 3 years ago for, it was a script I wrote for the European Commission, and it was full of wisdom coming from all my conversation I had with people from all over the globe during 2 years, during the COVID. And basically I had to pursue this script on my own. And this is how I understood that we cannot make the right change if we don't listen to the peripheries. Because it's at the center that we find the comfort in our current system, in the status quo. So I had to go, as I say, as far as I could in the peripheries to listen to people, because it is them who have the solutions to the problems that they face. You know, it's a bit like the water crisis. You solve it with people that suffer from the water crisis and have to be innovative to find solutions, you know, to find water every day.
Yes.
And we don't do that. We don't really have this culture of going, it's Arendt, we were saying that the solutions, they lie in the periphery. We don't have this culture. So I had to do it myself. I had to take all the risks, if you prefer, alone. But so how is my dream after 3 years? It's very promising. Now we are asked from leaders, worldwide leaders, to make presentation about the meta-collaboration behavior and structural framework. It's unbelievable that experts from around the globe seem to validate the framework. I mean, we spent a year focusing on making labs, making experiments, showing the benefits of our framework in domains like education, health, activism, economy, etc. The outcomes we get really surpass our expectations. Because as I say, at first we thought we will ensure the well-being of each, amplified by the collective. So we will invest in your potential, Stuart, with the meta-collaboration framework. We will add it to you, and instead of having a cap on your head that makes it impossible for you to achieve any dream, we instead of the cap, we give you, you know, all the things you needed. We fill in, you know, with all the ingredients that you need to feel well, find harmony, and at the end of the day, co-create.
That's
And
brilliant.
so from there, we understood that actually one of the benefits is to catalyze innovation.
That's
When
brilliant.
you take a tea bag, but you tell me when I have to stop. But meta-collaboration is basically a tea bag, and you respect the ceremony of the tea because it's very important. But you put a tea bag in a cup of water, and you see what it will happen. What will happen? You just follow. You observe. You are a researcher. You observe, and we saw how bubbling people become. They have a wall in front of them. It's impossible. We'll never get there. You put the tea bag, and it becomes like, oh, we could do that and this, but we're not doing that. And it's like incredible. It's incredible to see. It's magic. Because nowadays, I think people are overwhelmed with negativity. They don't have hope. I mean, and why did I start also? Because I realized during the COVID times that the first victims to a global pandemic was our youth, because we completely forgot about the social needs of our youth during this COVID time, because they don't vote.
Yes.
As simple as that. They don't vote, so they don't have a voice. And so we sort of, I mean, it's not as clear as that, but I think those who vote have privilege. And this was very clear for me during these COVID times. And so, yes, the reason why I just couldn't hold myself, and I had to open the door to my sons. Because we have the promise of a world that is worse. I can't accept this even 1 second. When I meet people in Belarusi, in my conversation in Iran, etc., when they tell me Europe is dead, I want to tell them it's the opposite, because it's our humanistic values. It's our humanistic values, and it's. I remember it's Emmanuel Duez in one of my conversations in Together Ensemble during the COVID time. She reminded me of these humanistic values of Europe. And never forget the common values we have in Europe, and why I think the promising future will come from Europe.
Julie,
and that's why we need this caring culture.
Julie, we've got to draw it on that, because that, I think, it's a brilliant way to end this on a note which is positive, remembering that as humans, we can address these issues if we want to. So often we don't want to. So we need to find ways of working with each other, supporting each other, and thinking for the future, not just for today. Rather than thinking just about what we get from getting out of, and we have difficulties we need to get through today, but we definitely need to get through to the future. We definitely need to collaborate in order to bring that bright future. Julie, thank you for spending a few minutes with us talking about this. It's a fascinating subject. I'm going to draw it and really encourage people. Please go follow Julie at linkedin.com. She's Julie Guegan at 1895A21. You'll find her if you look for her. There's not many people out there with quite such a profile as Julie. Please follow her. Please look at some of the stuff that she's doing. She's doing some really interesting things. She has that blog that she's talked about. She has written a book, which is
the blog is closed, but yes, sorry, Stuart, I can invite people to read my book. Volume 1, which is the vision. It's called Europe, the Next Chapter, a story of collective innovation. And the second book is about to get released. It's about all the experience we led all over the globe with the meta-collaboration framework during the past year, and what we learned about the framework.
Julie has some brilliant thoughts. Please follow her and look out for those books. And also following her, please subscribe to the newsletter so that you can get notification of when we have such fantastic hosts coming up on the podcast. If you go to link.thecompleteapproach.co.uk/newsletter, that's link.thecompleteapproach.co.uk/newsletter, that will take you to a form that you fill in, and you will get notified every couple of weeks with who's coming up on the podcast, so that you can join in and ask questions and listen to some of the wisdom that you get from such really interesting guests like Julie. Julie, thank you so much for spending just a few minutes with us, and I really appreciate you giving us such wisdom, so much to pack in, and I really look forward to catching up when that second book is out, and we'll talk more about what that book is telling us about global collaboration.
Thank you so much, Stuart.